If you've been following us here at My Travel BF for a while, you know that we're Americans who have been living in Europe for the last 3 years. And now we're currently back in the United States. And this video is all about the things we did not miss about the US while living in Europe. So one of the top things we absolutely do not miss about the US after living in Europe for 3 years is the walkability. It's just not good outside of a few specific areas. And even here in Milwaukee, this neighborhood right outside of downtown that might be one of the most walkable in the city, the 3rd Ward. As you can see, there's a huge freeway that just cuts down walkability, a bunch of vacant parking lots that are only actually full during festival season. Otherwise, it's kind of wasted space because there isn't super reliable public transit to get you a lot of places. And a lot of places just aren't even that walkable, especially if you go out to the suburbs. It can just be no sidewalks, really no places to cross the street safely as a pedestrian or a biker, and it's just super car dependent. And it's just one of the things we don't really miss about the US because we love the walkability of Europe. So one of the top things that we really do not miss about living in the United States after living in Europe for 3 years is the car dependency. After being back, we just honestly feel like we are absolutely trapped inside of a car for a huge portion of the day. And that's because you need a car in the US, or in most places of the US, to go almost anywhere, whether that's the supermarket, the doctor, school, pharmacy, or even to go visit friends or to go out to a restaurant. You're in the car all the time, and it's pretty boring and it really feels limiting, but also not healthy. And I understand now why counting steps to try to get to 10,000 steps a day is such a big thing in the US, whereas in Europe we do that just going about our daily lives. And just being able to walk places and not 100% depend on a car every day is something we really miss about Europe. And the car dependency here in the US is something that just absolutely sucks and is not something we miss about the US. So stores like the Target behind me, or huge grocery stores, are something we don't miss about the US because they're just overwhelming. The AC is blasting, so you're instantly cold when you go in, even if it's not even that hot outside like today. Plus, then you'll have an entire aisle just for spaghetti sauce, maybe 4 aisles of bread, 2 aisles, 4 aisles of frozen pizza, I don't know, 6 aisles of baby stuff that you don't even need. There are just too many options, and I think sometimes when there are too many options, you just always feel like you're picking the wrong one. So it's something that we just don't really miss about the US. However, if you check out our other video of things we do miss about living in the US, you'll see something about these same stores in there, so make sure to check that out. But overall, some of these stores just feel a little bit overwhelming after having lived in Europe. Now, while this is focusing on things we did not miss about the US while living abroad, we are doing a video about all the things we missed, so make sure to like and subscribe. So something we do not miss about the United States is the lack of third spaces. Now, a third space is somewhere outside of your home or work that you can go and socialize, and it's really third spaces that involve adults and kids. We feel like in the United States there are a lot of places for adults and a lot of places for kids. And while we have noticed that that has probably changed over time and there's been more of a mixed area for adults and kids, in Europe, a lot of places have things for adults and kids. For example, you go to a beer garden and there's obviously beer for adults, but there's also a playground right there for kids. In the United States, it feels like there are kid activities and there are separate adult activities. Like I said, it's becoming a little bit more mixed, which is amazing, but it doesn't really separate parents who have kids versus other adults who don't have kids. And just being able to do things in the same space for adults and kids is something that's absolutely great. And I think it actually integrates kids a little bit more into the overall fabric of society, because then kids get used to socializing with a bunch of adults, as well as adults get used to socializing with a bunch of kids. So it's actually something beneficial for society, and one of the things we do not miss about the United States and like about living in Europe. So one of the things we don't miss about the United States has to do with recycling. And it's not necessarily that people don't recycle, but it's that so much comes in single-use plastic or individually wrapped things. And sure, while it's convenient, it definitely isn't good for the environment. And especially coming from Germany and Europe, where they don't have a lot of that stuff and do recycling completely different that we've touched on in some of our other videos, it's been a bit of a shock, and it's something we really don't miss about the US is the amount of plastic that goes to waste here. Now, this dislike about the United States wasn't even in our original list. However, I noticed it out running errands, and that is plastic bags. They give you a plastic bag almost everywhere you go, whenever you buy something. I just bought a couple things at Walgreens, which is a small pharmacy, and it's like, hey, we'll put it in a plastic bag. They use them all the time, at least in Wisconsin where we're from, and it's kind of overkill. I wish they just charge like 25 cents per plastic bag. Same with paper bags at the grocery store, and have people bring a reusable bag. After living in Spain for a year and Germany for 2 years, where you have to pay for plastic bags, or they might not even give them out and you're expected to bring a reusable bag, it's something that really bothers me that they just kind of give out plastic bags here, and it really seems like a waste of resources and material. Instead of just charging people 25 cents to get one, people might be a little bit more aware and conscious about their plastic bag use. So we are back in Europe right now, and I cannot believe it. I forgot to film an ending to this video while in the US. So if you like this video and want to see more about what it's like living abroad in Europe, as well as some travels around Europe, make sure to check out our playlists that are popping up on the screen right here. And we'll see you over at those other videos. Bye.